going to do a tour of Microsoft Forms and what you can do with them and what actions. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. So let's just wait for that to come up. As Andy said, I am based in Germany. I was traveling back and forward an awful lot. I'm obviously not originally from Germany, as you can tell by my accent, but there we go. Let me show you something as well. You might have noticed this. If you've got the new features on it, the meetings now pop out. It's rolling out, and it's on Teams. It's rolling out, and it's going to be permanent soon. These now pop out. If you don't know how, you can turn it on manually if it hasn't fully rolled out yet. Meetings and chats pop out. A couple of other things low. Interestingly, if you've got more than 9 people now on a meeting, you can turn on large gallery. And that allows you to have up to 49 screens. It doesn't appear until you've got more than 9 people. You also have the together mode, which brings us all into a lovely theatre. It might take a second to do it. It takes all our pictures and puts us into theatre mode. So if your cameras were on, we'd all be sitting here. So I either look very small if I go backwards, or I look very, very big on the screen. But it's just new features that they're doing. The theatre mode's quite nice if you've got a large group, because you can just see everybody as if they're around a boardroom. See, there we go, more people came on. So you can set that yourselves if you don't already have it. But that's not the point of today. The point of today is Microsoft Forms. So I'm going to come across here. We're going to start and go through a couple of forms, but then we're going to talk about how you link it into other things, how you link it into the other parts of the Microsoft 365 environment. You may be using SurveyMonkey, you may pay for some things like that. Microsoft Forms could possibly replace that, but you can actually do a lot more with it as well, because it links into things like your stream, which is your video. It links into your Excel. It links into your Microsoft Teams. It links into your Automate as well, and we'll touch on all of that as we go through. So to give forms, if you log into your normal portal, which is office.com, so I know a lot of people don't really know that, necessarily know that, they don't log on to the web part of it. Forms is an online web only. They don't have a desktop application. Just out of interest, last week they announced that they're going to bring Forms onto the mobile Microsoft Office app, and that's going to be rolling out very soon as well. So that's quite important, because then you'll be able to respond to, create forms from within the mobile app, which works both on Android and on the Apple infrastructure, tablet and mobile. So that's useful. If you don't have Forms, you can choose all apps and you'll see it there, or you can search for Forms. And when you open Forms, it brings you across to here. And we've got a few set up here. We're going to look at setting one up from scratch, and then we're going to look at how to integrate some of those features within it. And what you can see, some of them I've got Excel and Forms, I've got Quiz for Stream, I've got a few sitting here ready to show you what I've done with them already. So I've done a kind of like a Blue Peter. Here's something that I prepared earlier. So we've got 2 options here. We've got new form and we've got new quiz. The difference between them is obviously a quiz gives you the option to put in marks and then give answers to people. So that's useful if you do have to do anything like, you know, if you wanted to do something like your employment engagement in terms of training, you show a video, they fill a form, they answer some questions, they get an answer, they get a mark. If they get a certain mark, they pass and they get their certificate. It's highly used within the education environment. Quizzes are as well, and you don't have to put marks on quizzes, so there's a few little things in quizzes that you may want to use one of those instead of a form. But let's have a quick look at forms. They're both the same thing. So when you open it, it gives you an untitled form, and you just can click in it and you give a name. So very, very simple. You can put in a description, you can put in a background picture, you can put in a theme, so colors, or you can add your own. So you can choose one of the Microsoft, or you can just choose plus, and you can use a color or an image as your theme. So we're just not going to play around with theme. Here we can add a picture. So again, you can put an image search, or you can upload a picture in behind when it goes here as well. So you can put in more description information here, and then the next thing that you do is you add new. So when you add new, you get 4 main things. You get a choice, text, rating or date. You have furlers here: ranking, Likert, file upload, net promoter score and section, which we'll come to shortly. But let's just start with text. So I could put in, please enter your name. Now If this is an internal one, so if this is within your organization, you don't need to ask it to enter a name, because people would have to log in to use it, and once they're logged in, it knows that it's, in this case would be IT trainer to log in, but it would know the person's name. If this is an external facing form, you may actually ask people to enter their name. Here you can put in a long answer, which we don't need in this case, but if you wanted a large box, so it's a bit like in databases, if you've got a short answer or you've got a long answer, you can put in that it's required, and this is while you're setting up the form. You can also more settings for each of these questions, so you can put in a subtitle. The idea of a subtitle is you can put a description, feedback for such and such, give a bit more of information. So the idea would be to keep your question as short as possible, and if you need to have more information about that question, you put it in the subtitle. You also have an option here for restrictions and branching. So restrictions allows you to choose that it has to be a number. Now obviously that wouldn't work with name. I'm just showing you the feature of it here, but with number you can do for less than, equal to, not between, equal to, etc. So if you have to have a number in there, you can do so. So I'm going to take off that restriction, that's fine. Then I'm going to add new, and here I'm going to add a date. So simple enough, and you can put a subtitle in or not. So again, you can choose at each stage whether it's required, you can choose whether there's a subtitle. If you've noticed there, you can up and down. You can move the questions up and down, so you change the ordering of the questions. And that would just be a date. Let's have another add new. Let's put in a choice. Now, choice is interesting. Was your experience good? And they will give you, I don't know if you noticed there, add all, some preset answers. So you can add an other option, and if it's another option, they can fill in their own. You can add as many options as you want. You can give people the option to have multiple answers. In this case, again, yes, no, maybe, you wouldn't want multiple answers, but if it is something where please choose all that apply to you. And again, you can have required or not. You can have shuffle options. Now, shuffle options are better when you're dealing with a quiz, because then your answers are always shuffled, so people don't know you answer 1A, 2B, 3A, etc. You can actually create it as a drop-down menu rather than a button menu, put in a subtitle and add branching. And branching is really useful with this. Let's have a look at the other features then. We've done all of these. We do a rating. Put in a question for a rating, and each of them, by the way, can have a media behind it. But we can actually put how many levels you want. You can have your symbol, is it a number or a star, and people can do that. Again, another good one. Let's have a look at the last few before we go back to branching. So we've got ranking. So you put things in order. So people move them up and down in the order. You put in a question, so put the thing to the top that was most important to you. So you can actually ask them, or if it's a quiz or a questionnaire, put them in the correct order of what you would do something in. So that is your ranking one. Then you have got a few others here. We've got like art. Now, I didn't know what that was until the first time that I did it. That's what a like art is. So you can add multiple statements. So if you've done any online surveys, you may have seen these. You can change your options. You can have 4 options if you want. You can have more options if you want. And as you start putting in options, again, Microsoft intelligently starts to work out, actually, do you want these ones in? Yeah, you do. And then you can go through that. So you put statements in and people can mark them. So again, like art's quite a useful one that people would be using. Finally, the last couple here, we got a net promoter score. So one of those, again, I didn't know what a net promoter score was. So these are good for external surveys. You can actually, there's a question ID as well that they give you. And then we've got 2 more. We've got a section. And we've got a file upload. Now, a section is useful if you've got a large survey going on. So you finish your personal details, then you move on to your employment details, and then you move on to something else. I've used sections in ones where you've got like a long survey where it's information for a new starter for a company, that they actually have got sections to fill in bit by bit by bit. And file upload. File upload only works internally in your organization at the minute. It is on the Microsoft, what they call their roadmap to actually make it available for external collection of data, because at the minute in OneDrive you can actually ask for data to be shared, but at the minute it's only within your organization. But this is useful if you need somebody to upload data. into a Microsoft form, and that goes through to your OneDrive, and it will be automatically recorded. So if I hit OK, then we can put in that. You can limit the number of sizes of files, you can limit the size of your files, and that means that people can upload these. When it's finished, you can play around with it more, you can preview it. And when you preview it, you can see what it looks like on computer, or you can look like on mobile. The other thing you can do here, then you can share it. When you share, you can decide these things. In this case, I can't do anyone with a link. And the reason I can't do anyone with a link is because I've asked for a file upload. So if you've asked for a file upload, you can't share it externally. So let me do this and come down here, and I will remove the file upload just to show you that you've got both options. And to remove one, you just delete. If you want to copy and have multiple questions very similar, you can do so as well. So let's have a quick delete. Go back to share. Now we can do both. And you can do it by a link. So you copy, you could reduce the size of that with Bitly or one of the link reducers. You can actually create a QR code, they scan it. You can create a link, which you put into a web page or Sway, or you can send it by email. That's going to open an email. You can share it inside your organization as a template, or you can get a link to view and edit. So that is all of those options under share. Your other options you have are under settings. So you can make it multilingual. Now, multilingual does not translate your questions. It does, however, translate and automatically, depending on the language of the user, you can put in different languages here. So I could put in, say, for example, add additional language, French, German, whatever else that you've got. And then these things like enter your answer, please input date, those would be in the local language. Under your settings, and I know we're moving quite fast, we've got options. This allows you whether you want to have internal or external. If that is on, it's anyone with a link. If that's on, it's only internal, and you can actually say only one response per person. You can even have it anonymous to an extent. Do you want to accept responses? So you can actually create your form and then turn it on. After a while, you can turn it off and then turn it back on a month later, 2 months later, next year. You can have a start date and an end date. So you accept responses between those two dates. You shuffle your questions if it's just a pure survey that way. Customize a thank you message. So instead if your response was submitted, you have a full thank you to people about how the data is used, about a GDPR. And you can send an email receipt to each respondent and an email notification to each response as well if you want. However, all of the data comes into here, and then you can see it through onto your Excel as well. Last thing before we have a quick look at surveys and then look at how you use them is branching. And branching is as simple as, let's go down to this one. This is a better one to branch with. If I go to branching and I choose to add branching, I get this. If somebody says next, I can decide to go to a different question or the end of the form or a different section. If somebody says no, I can jump. So at each stage, you can say, if they say yes, you go down this avenue. If you say no, you go down that. So kind of like a flow chart, or when I was growing up, I read Make Your Own Adventure books. Same idea. Direct people to where you need to go on response of an answer. Do you want to be kept updated about our data in future? Yes, no. If yes, please put in your email address. If no, do you want to add any more information? Would you like to give us a comment? All of those come up as branching options. And then after the question, you can then jump further on down it. Do you need to add, do you have any medical conditions that we need to know about? Yes, it opens a box to fill in those medical conditions. If it's no, it jumps to the next question. So you can do all of that under the branching options. And once you open the branching options for one, you can just click on it for all. So that's one of those forms. If I go back to forms and have a quick look at quiz to show you the only differences in quiz, still got choice, text, rating and date. We've got ranking, Likert, file upload, net promoter score. Just so you a section, you just give it new sections. So each section has got a name on it. But the only thing is to show you on this is you can actually add an answer. What's the correct answer? And you can mark it and give it points. So you can have that you must get 50 out of 60 points to do it. And in here, the other option that you can do is you can actually add math. So if we put in a text, there's an option, very American, we can do a math one. So that's again more quiz for educational, but it is there as well. So you've got questions, answers, and if you do something like a choice one, under choice, you can say, oh, I don't want math under choice. No, here's the add a new choice. Yeah, turn off math, please. Yes. Put in the questions, put in the answers, and what you do is you say, this is the correct answer. And if somebody answers this, you can actually put in this is incorrect. The reason it is incorrect is because of ABC. Please go back and read it again. So you can actually put in comments for answers as well as that. So there's where, even outside of an educational environment, where a quiz may be of more use for you if you are doing that sort of thing. So let's show you a couple of forms that I've created earlier on.
Can I quickly interrupt? There's a couple of bits in the chat, if I may.
Yes.
Questions from me. Does the net promoter score link to MPS?
Oh, I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay, no problem.
We'll have to find out. We will find out afterwards.
From your namesake, from Vivian. So forms is only for use within your organisation, not for external clients?
No, you can share it externally. The only thing that doesn't work externally is it can be embedded in websites, it can be embedded in Sway, it can be embedded in emails. The only thing that doesn't work is the file upload option for the external people. So okay. you can use a form to capture the information from external, but what happens is you don't get the option to let them upload files. That's a big thing. A lot of people want that. Like other things have the option to upload files, upload documents, upload this through forms, and I think it would be really useful. At the minute, it's not there, but it is coming. But you can promote it outside.
Vivian, does that answer your question? Yeah, thumbs up. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thanks, Viv. Cheers.
No problem. Let's have a quick look. We did this on the automate one, COVID capture details. So we took this. I saw this if you want to, you can see it on the YouTube channel. We did a session in July, I think it was, on Power Automate, which again is part of your Microsoft 365 subscription. And I saw this in a restaurant that I went to, and they had a QR code. It wasn't using Microsoft Forms. They had a QR code. Took the QR code, it directed you to a form, you filled in the form, and that then had their COVID capture details. So you could actually do this, connect it into Power Automate, which I'll show you in a minute, and that then could be put into a Microsoft list, a Microsoft SharePoint list on an Excel sheet, and you can then play around with that. So that's a simple questionnaire that you can have. So again, we did 3 responses to that. When you start getting responses, you can start seeing them here. So each response has got this. And on top of that, if there's anything with a score, it will actually give it in a pie chart format. So it's actually utilizing down here Power BI as well. You can view each of the results, so you can see all the respondents, and you can go through them one by one. You can export them all, you can delete responses, you can print responses. All of that is possible one by one. And on top of that, you can open it all in Excel. So all of the results, you can open it in Excel. But if you're used to Power Automate at all, Microsoft also provides one of the links to Power Automate is you can get the details as soon as data comes through from a Microsoft form. You can email it to someone, you can post it to Teams, you can update something, you can put it in a SharePoint list, you can move it to Excel, you can do something with it. So that's one of the ones that we had done before. Let's have a quick look. One of the ones I did today, just to show you branching. So if I preview this, there's an image put into it. Background image. So let's go for this. So I haven't filled it all in. So for example, if you wanted to do HR change information, please use this form. So what we could do is I could say, right, this here is only one question. You may have noticed before it wasn't just one question when we had it in the form, but now if I choose to do address, it now opens. This is branching, and then submit the form. If I choose to update my bank details, again, it gives me that information. If I do contact number, again. So we've got the option that is using branching. So one form can be used for multiple things. So that's possible as well. And another one, their feedback survey, for example, again, simple. Andy did some responses today. And if we look down here, there we go. It puts it into a pie chart for you. You start to see these information. There's your, there's one of the like cards. There we go. So we need to check if that goes through. And so it gives you some nice graphs and one response for more detail. So each of those allows you to actually go into a little bit more detail on all of the answers that you get through. So that is, and again, open in Excel, post scores, review answers. So, and this one was a quiz because I wanted to show the quiz with a few different things on it as well. So let's That's how you can play around with a post. But let me show you it linking into other things. You may have noticed if you're in OneDrive at all, and if you're using it online, you now have got the option of forms for Excel. You've got the same in SharePoint. You've also got it in Excel. You can actually start forms for Excel in here. And if you're in a new book on Excel, there is an option to insert a form. And if you insert a new form from there, it creates a form and it connects it straight to this Excel sheet. So you can be on the Excel sheet, and as you add questions in the form, it will automatically update the fields in the Excel sheet. You can then edit the form, send the form, and delete the form. So if I'm going to open up this Excel and Forms one, close that down, and this should open one that I created earlier, and I decided to create a form from the Excel online benefit. And then it automatically gives me a unique ID, start time, completion time, email name, put in data, and choose date was the 2 questions that I did. So I can actually go to the forms again, and under my forms, I can preview it or I can edit it. And if I edit that form and add another question to it, it will automatically create another column in my, let's put a rating in, it'll create another column in my Excel sheet. It might take a second to do, but once it saves here, it should then update this and refresh that and put in another column over at the side. So that will take a second to do, but that's possible to do as well. Let's pop back to Teams a second, because you might not know, you can actually add forms into Teams. So if I go to here, and this HR one, this HR form, anytime you're using Teams and you've got a channel on Teams, if you use the plus button, you can add more tabs. And one of those tabs, for example, is forms. So when you choose to add forms, you can create a new form from there, which will then be posted into the channel. You can add an existing form or create a workflow to collect responses. If you add an existing form, you can choose one of the forms, and you can choose to either collect results, responses, or show the results. So for example, here's that form that we had before. So anybody using Teams, once they log in, they will automatically, an HR department could have this, and whoever logs in, it will say their name at the top. So it would say, if I was logged in as my account, it would say, "Hi Viv." And then I would be able to submit that. So same idea, click on bank details, do it from here. It can embed in a SharePoint site as well. But you can also have the results coming through. So that feedback survey that we had, that Andy nicely filled in some results for me earlier, you can actually have that coming in here, and it will automatically update and automatically refresh. So your team can be working within Teams, and they don't actually have to jump in and out of forms. They can actually see the results coming through and seeing it there. Let me show you another thing that you can do, Microsoft Stream. I'll show you on the website in a minute. I know we've only got 3 or 4 minutes, and we want to leave a minute or 2 for any further questions. Microsoft Stream, you can post your videos in here. So this is a Teams demo we did a little while ago. But if I start to play this Teams demo, I think it works in Teams as well. I know it works on the website. I'll now remute this. Now, it should, in a few seconds, hopefully. I didn't test this in Teams, guys. I should have. No, it doesn't work in the Teams bit. Apologies. But if I go across the stream, so if people are in the stream, you can actually have it that there is a quiz. You can actually insert a Microsoft quiz for stream. I'll tell you why it is. It's because I've used it before. And if I hadn't used it before, it would automatically pop out. So you can actually set up a Microsoft stream. There you go. What brand of coffee was Rich drinking in the video? And it's got a 10 points to answer. I know it was Costa. I'm going to submit, and it would give me a 10 out of 10 for the answer. And all you have to do is come into your stream set, and you go here and you can put quizzes in at different stages. So if you've actually got training videos set up, you can actually put in quizzes towards the end of it, partway through, data information check, knowledge check. So at each stage of the thing, you can actually do a knowledge check as well. And finally, show you the integration of it. This here is your Microsoft Power Automate. These are flows, so they're workflows. If you do a new flow and you create it for an automated one, the automated one allows you to do ones like, and that's the one that capture COVID video, details. When a new response is submitted, I'm just going to create one just to show you, for example, we could actually notify someone Pick the form, gives you all the different information. So say, for example, COVID capture details or HR change information, and then you get the details of the form. And once you do that, you can then do something with it. So you can send it to the finance department. You can send it to such and such. You can email back the person saying, thanks for your submission. We've got it. It's now being passed on to this person. So Microsoft Automate allows you to do all of that as well. So forms, you've got quizzes, you've got normal forms. They can go external or internal. Internal allows you to upload files. It also connects, as I said, to OneDrive, Excel, it connects into Teams, and it connects through to Stream, and it also connects to Power Automate. Quite a useful bit of kit. Just wondering, is there any other questions? Because I don't want to go much over time, or if there's anything that you want to see again.
Doesn't sound like it, Viv.
No questions.
Rich, do you want to wrap it up with?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Viv. There's no product placement in that video, but the brands of coffee are available. I do hate that video. I really do. It caught me just swinging on a coffee.
that's why I put it in exactly at that point.
Thank you, Viv. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, just thank you, everybody, for attending this morning. I hope you found it really helpful. I found it. I've actually changed some forms while I've been watching the seminar there, sort of webinar even. So thank you for that, Viv, and thank you, Andy. I will follow up after this with an email to you detailing the course that we're running every other Friday at the minute. So I'll drop that an email to you. We're also using forms to collate as a feedback. So that'll be really good for you to be able to see that's using. But we're using them for case studies in particular here, for actually getting information from clients. So it makes it really easy, a few questions for them to fill in, and then we can build case studies from it. So forms is really useful, and I've, like I say, some of the branching now I've just added to the form that you'll be receiving from us later. So like I say, we're running these courses I'm just getting a list up on screen, that's why I'm looking at another computer. So the next one is Stream, which is on the 18th of September. I'll send a link for you so you can book onto these. And then on the 22nd of October, we've got a 2 to 3 hour session, which is more about actual older the apps that are in 365. So that's it from me. I hope you found it really useful. I'll drop you an email later on, along with a recording of the sessions as well, so you can go back and anything you've missed, you can pick up.
Sorry, Rich, just one last question coming from Vivian. If free text box, is there a character limit?
If it's a long answer, there will be some sort of character limit, but it's a bit like databases with a massive amount of space. If you don't, I think it's a normal 256 characters, and if it's a long answer, you've got pretty much unlimited. There will be a limit, but it will be very, very large.
Lovely. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you,
Thanks a lot, guys.